this is what I crack, man. This is a thoroughly posted, man, with a shout out to, as you can see, Post Malone here. This is a Woven Water Brewing Company here in Tampa. And this is a triple blurry IPA. It's pretty solid, man. Let me just give you a taste, or at least a view. Kind of danky.
Nice, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, man. It's thick. I won't say syrupy, but it's thick. Good nose. ABV. This one's probably somewhere between 11 and 12, I would imagine.
12. I was just looking at thinking it's probably like a 12 anyway.
I can't find it. Let me see here.
Isn't it funny sometimes you look at it, you can't find it on the can, and so you would think it'd be so obvious? Sometimes.
I mean, you know, some people ain't looking for it like that, man. They just looking for the experience. Just depends. Yeah, man. Damn, I can't find it on here, the ABV. So Untappd has definitely got it. Pull it up.
That's an interesting name for a beer too. It sounds like something you would say though.
Thoroughly posted, man. I mean, I felt it immediately. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, according to Untappd, as you see here on the screen, man, thoroughly posted Woven Water Brewing.
I just got to it.
That's one of the spots here in Tampa. So this is 10% ABV. A triple New England hazy, as you can see, very hazy, damn near danky. Like it is, man, it's thick. But yeah, I gave this one a 4.25, and I think it's every bit of that, man. I think, you know, and it was funny, man. When I went into Woven Water, man, they're pretty close to Magnanimous as well as Hidden Springs here in Tampa. It's such a wonderful area, man, that they've got right there. Coppertail isn't too far down the road either. They're kind of like on the outskirts of Ybor, but they were probably all like 4 top shelf breweries right here in Tampa, man, probably about 3 or 4 miles apart, where you can really, man, if you really get the right lime or the right bird, man, you could start in Coppertail and hit all of these joints on a scooter ride. But yeah, Woven Water, man, I had been going to this spot for the stouts, for like the heavier beers, stouts and porters, and went back recently, and man, they had all of these. They had this one, they had one called Iridescence. They had a couple sours, like some almost like a slushy or a milkshake sour. Man, it's like they had really grown. And I don't know if this was just my inexperience with them, but I immediately, you know, fell in love with these guys again because they're stouts. You know, I drink stouts and porters quite a bit, you know, depending on the weather. But when I found these hazies, I had literally just left Magnanimous and kind of ran through quite a few of theirs. And I was like, well, it's time to belly up again, man. And had probably like 4 or 5, you know, 5 ounce, some flights, man, just to kind of taste up and wound up getting some cans too. But yeah, man, Woven Water, man, definitely. If you guys are in the Tampa area, man, definitely check those guys out, man. They're doing good work. And it's a really nice space too. They got a nice space. So yeah, salud. Be sure to visit flydialogue.com to find out more about us, including our radio station where we stream hip hop 24/7. Yo, we're literally jamming as we speak. We got a craft beer blog called C.R.E.A.M. Craft Rules Everything Around Me. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the craft beer app called Untappd, or on YouTube. Just search Fly Dialogue on all these platforms. Be sure to follow us and friend us, subscribe to us. Long story short, check us out. We'd love to have y'all, and we look forward to connecting with you. And let's talk soon.
I'm gonna hit the bottle shop tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, no. When I'm up there, we got to hit up Aslin. I know we picked up.
Oh yeah, we talked about that
spot, but
well, yeah. I need to get over there and grab that Pew because that is a really good beer, man. And it's nice and heavy, but it's like, and as far as ABV goes, it's also a super smooth beer to drink. And like it's been a while. I haven't had it since last summer because once again, I think we saw the advertising, like we brought it back because you know. It just kind of makes it cool that they rotate stuff where you don't always see everything that they have. Like you got to kind of check back every now and then, or you know, website, and it's like so that's always a treat too. You know, when there's a beer that you haven't had in a while and it comes back around. I like that strategy. I think that's
treasure hunt.
Yeah, it's like the best thing about this particular industry is really scarcity. I mean, we've talked about that so many times. Like having the ability to tell people you had something they haven't had, or introduce folks to things, and like tell them about breweries, and like there's that whole culture of it all, man. So there's another place we got to hit downtown too, Blue Jacket. I've actually not been to Blue Jacket, and they are a brewery, and they're really close. They're right down by the stadium. So we should run down there when you get in town for sure, though. So,
what stadium? What are you talking about?
You're near the National Stadium, right? I used to work right down there at the Navy Yard. So it's from where I live, man. You just hop over the bridge and it's right there, basically, once you come up 295. So we'll have to check that out. That whole area is blown up, man. When I used to work there, but right before I moved in there, started working there. I moved up here. There was nothing in that area. It was all just old houses, kind of row homes. Kind of what people maybe say with the projects at the time. And then the National Stadium came. And then after that, they put the new Department of Transportation building there. And then from there, they started making these commercialized. They started putting housing there. And now it's like this whole big playground full of stuff, man, like really good breweries. And it's like the high-end area to live. Back then, it was a little more cutthroat in the city.
Of course.
But man, so yeah, this place, Blue Jacket, they get a lot of good reviews. And I've been meaning to check them out. I'm terrible about getting down there. But they got their own beer.
Gotcha.
Food is really good. It's always packed out too. So there's a few on that list, man. We definitely need to hit them up. DC Bra is like really close down to there too. That's another they've kind of become a mainstay. Like that's like what you were saying about, your local Sierra Nevada, right? DC Bra is kind of like become the DC beer, and like they're everywhere. Decent beers. I mean, little more middle of the road to me in general. I won't say I've had their whole line though, so I do need to probably try more. But in general, I don't necessarily. It's not my go-to because it's once again, it's everywhere. So
yeah, no, I get it. I mean, and that's it's kind of like the pros and the cons of craft beer. Well, if a lot of beer and from a lot of different breweries is a con, but there's so much out there to soak up, if you will, man.
It's almost like you can get people out from being too big if you're a craft brew, because like when you start getting big, then people start saying, okay, you're not really niche anymore. You're not really like you're not like a, it's almost like you're not our mom and pop. Even if your beer is like still middle of the road, but if you're hard to find, it still makes people feel like, okay, it's different. It's not. But once you're in every shop in the city, or it's like I'm trying to find something different.
it's a fine line, man. It's a I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things, man. You've got to, you can liken it to a hip hop artist, man. Big Crit might get too big to be that top underground dude, and you're like, oh man, Crit, he went mainstream. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a fine line, but
yeah, people get exposed too much, and then they start saying, well, I've seen this guy before, like what else is there? And
yeah,
I think that's what it is. I mean, even it's funny because I think about like Fat Tire. Like that was when Fat Tire, when I first started drinking Fat Tire, I was like, oh, this is different, right? But it wasn't everywhere. Now Fat Tire is everywhere. And then they started doing the Voodoo line and all that kind of stuff, which are good, but like it's like they're so like ubiquitous, right? They're like everywhere you go, you see them now. So it's like I'm not really shopping for that all the time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's New Belgium. You know what I mean? Yeah. New Belgium is the brewery. Exactly. That's you got Voodoo Ranger, you got the juicy IPAs, Fat Tire. You've got under that brand. I mean, they had and I shouldn't say had. I mean, they're having a great run. I think they're still a good beer. But yeah, they're at the top of that.
But they're at that point too, that level of saturation where like I think it's easy to say like or think that you've had all they put out, or to say, well, why am I going to go for this when I could try something that's a little bit more unique?
I mean, I would always leave a little room for error. That's just the way it feels. That I feel like that's the perception, and I don't think we're off there. But you know what? I bet if you pulled up at New Belgium Brewing, let me think where they're at. I mean,
I'm pulling them up right now, actually.
Yeah, they're in Fort Collins, man. They're in Colorado. So if Colorado isn't considered the Mecca,
I mean, it's the Mecca. I mean, it's like remember anything that comes out of Colorado that gets even slightly big becomes like national almost, right? Like they really and props to Colorado. Props to Seattle, like places like even San Diego, right? Like where they've really like been the leaders of a lot of this when it comes to this industry, and like that's if you're from Colorado, like your chance of becoming big. I mean, Bells, right? I mean, that's I don't even know if I realized like that there was a tie between them and New Belgium. I love a lot of Bells, but like I guess apparently they're
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, I mean, what these cats can do though is they can have this wide distribution for everybody, you know, who likes Fat Tire or Voodoo Ranger or whatever. But now if you go to Colorado, to Fort Collins, and you go to their tap room, you may find stuff like that does not get distributed.
For sure. See, and that's
so you can get the best of both worlds, man. That is what I hope that they are doing, you know.
And you're right though. That's the thing about, you said going to places, because you know, rest in peace, Ballast Point. I know there was someone else, but when I went to their location, they had an entire freezer full of stuff that like you just couldn't get in the store. You know, it's like you probably could get in
that you can't get anywhere. Yeah, you may not be able to get that shit anywhere.
Well, they had. There's one that I bought that they only had, they sold at the brewery, and they had autographed it with a gold pen, a gold marker, right? So like when you bought it, it had like a physical autograph on it. Someone, I guess, however they brew it, but they have. So it was really unique, and I remember sharing those with just a handful of people, like my cousin, my brother. Right, but I kept I got a bottle of a 4-pack or something like that, or maybe a 6-pack. Nice. And I was only like sharing those with certain folks. And it was barrel aged, and it had like cask in it and all types of. It was incredible. It was really different, but it was once again something that you just aren't going to get everywhere that you go when you see their brand. You know. Yeah.
Hopefully, they maintain the autonomy to do that. You know what I mean? I'm sure when they find a really good one, they got to go ahead, and since they got the distribution channel already in place, I would like to think that they're probably going to put that out, but maybe not, man. I think, you know, since they have the distribution outside of Fort Collins, you know, and Asheville, obviously two major spots when it comes to beer.
Asheville's another one, man, too. Once again, like you said, man, what a, you know, the culture,
man. I mean,
makes sense for craft beer anyway, though.
It just works, man. That area, you know, the Carolinas, man, are just, I mean, they're gold mines, man. They just work. They work, man. So yeah, man, when you get that big, you can start doing stuff that, you know, you just feel like doing, you know what I mean? I think there's obviously there needs to be a strategy behind it, but I feel like they can serve the local community there in Fort Collins with like dope stuff, and still widely distribute the Fat Tires, the Voodoo Rangers, and you know what I'm saying, those other staples that people grow to love and get introduced to by, you know, and then step into other stuff that may come out of Fort Collins in Asheville. So.